Welcome. This is Sunday Politics live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimaloye in Ekiti, where we've been monitoring for you the Ekiti State Governorship election 2022. A winner has emerged and returned, announced by INEC. And so it does look like there are a lot of reactions to that election. But before we get into the different reaction and different perspectives to the outcome of that election, let's tell you that today it was some fanfare at the airport, Lagos Airport in Ikeja, when the leader of the APC and the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, arrived Lagos. He returned to Lagos after several weeks of being away to Abuja in the contest for the ticket of the APC. Mr. Bola Tinubu was being accompanied by the governor of Imo State, the governor of Kano State, and other APC stalwarts. He was received by supporters of the party who thronged the airport and led him around the city. We understand that he visited the palace of the Oba of Lagos before he addressed his supporters. This is coming several weeks after Bola Tinubu emerged as the winner of the APC presidential primary. And of course, recently, the party submitted the names of the vice presidential candidate and a running mate who understand there may be a placeholder, the person of Ibrahim Masari. How Bola Tinubu arrived Lagos earlier today. So let's see on the issue of the Ekiti governorship election and what really happened. What happened, what did not happen, the conduct of the exercise. Tonight, we're focusing on the reactions from the political parties, especially. It was a three-horse race fundamentally. But let's take a look at how the results and what exactly the issues that characterize the election of yesterday. The total number of 989,224 registered voters, with a total number of accredited voters to the tune of 363,438. A total valid votes of 351,865, while the rejected votes stood at 8,888, and the total votes cast at the polling units yesterday came to 360,753. Of course, Biodun Oyebanji of the APC emerged as a winner. He polled 187,057 votes to emerge winner, defeating his closest rival, the SDP's Shegoni, who polled 82,211, while Bisi Kolawole of the PDP polled 67,457. Well, if you look at the margin between the winner and the runner-up, that's Shegoni of the SDP, it comes to about 104,846 votes. That is the margin between Oyebanji and Oni. What about the margin between the winner and the second runner-up? And that is the PDP, Bisi Kolawole. Between Bisi Kolawole and Biodun Oyebanji is 119,600 votes. A lot of activities have been happening since the emergence of Biodun Oyebanji, especially in the camp of the APC. We've seen the governors of Jigawa and governors of Kebbi State, who were with the governor of Ekiti State, Kaude Fayemi, who had gone to visit the governor-elect, Biodun Oyebanji, at his country home in Ikogosi. It was somewhat a celebratory mood between these men who received felicitation on the party's emergence as the winner in the governorship election. Well, afterwards, Mr. Oyebanji gave his acceptance speech. Take a listen to him.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, officially announced that my party, the All Progressive Congress, APC, secured the majority of votes and fulfilled all conditions, effectively affirming your choice and returning me, Biodun Abayomi Oyebanji, as your governor-elect, and Chief Mrs. Bonisade Afuye as your deputy governor-elect. I, together with Chief Mrs. Afuye, use this opportunity to express our gratitude to everyone who voted for us. We also recognize all those who did not vote for us, but whose participation in this important democratic ritual of the election enriched the process, especially with the gracious manner in which we accepted the outcome and helped maintain the peace during and after the exercise. We are hopeful that though we did not have your vote at this time, we will hand your trust and cooperation as we began the journey of keeping Ekiti State working. Ekiti Kete, we are grateful for the privilege you have given to us to bear your sacred mandate at this crucial time in history.
You heard the governor-elect of Ekiti State, Biodun Oyebanji of the APC. Governor Kayode Fayemi has also been reacting to the outcome of the election. Take a listen to the governor, Kayode Fayemi.
It is an honor and a privilege to finally hand over the original results, declaration of results, and I think there is a technical name for it, from EC40 or EC8D, which is the collation and summary of results from local government areas in the 2022 Ekiti State Governorship election. To the governor-elect, Mr. Abiodun Abayomi Oyebanji.
Excellency. Governor of Ekiti State, reaction to the outcome of the Saturday election. Well, it's the day after the polls. A lot of reactions are already pouring in on what happened, what did not happen, the different reflections that the different political parties and the different perspectives that they have towards this election. Let's get some reaction, especially from the camp of the runner-up, that's Mr. Shegoni, the Social Democratic Party. I'm being joined by us media, the party's media aide, and of course an ally to Mr. Shegoni. I'm being joined by Mr. Moses Jolayemi. Thank you so much for joining us now.
Thank you, Sean, for having me.
How does your party or your camp receive the outcome of the election?
Well, we received it with shock. Shock in the sense that nobody expected that they could take it this far, you know. We have always known that APC was not sincere, you know, about the entire process, but we didn't know they were going to go this far. So the result is unaccepted.
So, I mean, let's break it down so that our viewers can understand. When you say you don't know they were going to take this far, you didn't know they were going to beat you this far?
No, we didn't know that they were going to, you know, depart completely from all the electoral laws. So, you see,
you mean they broke electoral law?
Yes, a day before the election, either a day or two, there was a peace accord signed by all the
That's on Wednesday.
That was on Wednesday. Okay, thank you. That was on Wednesday. They signed a peace accord, and we thought everybody would abide by that, especially the APC. But on the day of that election, what we saw was display of thuggery everywhere. There is a man you all know. I mean, you must have seen his name in all the reports on social media and all that. One, you know, a driver who we have been talking about long before now, that had been hired by, you know, the Fayemi government. The guy is called Mentilo, you know, is, I think he's chairman or something of the drivers union, who we have been talking about, that had been hired to, you know, lead thugs and to disrupt the process. And what we saw was snatching of ballot boxes.
Where? During the returning of the votes yesterday, when the results are being announced, there's a local government where a complaint of ballot snatching happened. Beyond that point, Were there any other places where ballot snatching happened?
There are so many places, and we are just compiling the reports. Okay? There are many places that this took place.
Are you saying that there were manipulations of results?
Of course, I mean, when you snatch a ballot box, what would you want to do with it? It's obviously for manipulation. Sorry?
How rampant was the snatching of ballot box? Was it very rampant? Did it happen in several places?
Well, that's the reports we're getting. It didn't happen in my hometown, for instance.
So your hometown is where?
It's Okemesi.
Okemesi?
Yes.
So you lost in Okemesi?
What we saw, you see, I was talking about, a departure from the electoral laws, and in actual fact, a departure from sanity. Now, what we saw was clear evidence of vote buying. And we've been talking about this. That's why, for instance, APC never bothered to campaign that much. We were everywhere, okay? Traversing every nooks and corners of Ekiti State. And we were wondering why they were so confident and relaxed, not knowing that everything was going to be based on vote buying.
So you witnessed?
I saw it. I saw it clearly.
But did you raise alarm in Okemesi where you voted?
Oh yes, I saw it. I tried to raise alarm, but you see, the truth of the matter is that the security agents there look the other way, because these are people who we, suspect very seriously have been compromised. Before the election, what the governor said when they asked him a question whether he was satisfied or confident that the law enforcement agents were going to do their job, he said, look, you don't go into a match believing that the referee was going to be biased. Okay? You play the game. And that was the mindset. That was the spirit. That was how we went into the election, only to get there and discover that the security agents were looking the other way. Another issue is, we made it abundantly clear that if you want to discourage vote buying, the positioning of this is secret ballot for God's sake.
Open secret ballot.
Right. Now you have the polling booth there. Okay, you would expect a situation where when you thumbprint, you put it in the box somewhere right there. But what happened everywhere? At least I can use Okemesi as a microcosm of the rest of Ekiti State. I couldn't be everywhere, but I was in Okemesi and I saw what happened. Okay? When you thumbprint, they will now take it and display it, and the agents are standing there. Okay? Who will see that I have done what you asked me to do, and there is another gentleman or gentlewoman, whoever, standing somewhere there, who will give a nod to another person, who will now give a nod to the other person somewhere where the money is going to be given. You also saw videos of people arrested, with money. EFCC arrested people. Okay? I don't know what's happening to them now, but you see, they have all the power.
So
all this happened.
So because the feelers and the stories we're getting, the reports that we have, is that most of the political parties engage in vote buying. How much of that did you do in your party? We couldn't engage in vote buying because they themselves had been saying it that we didn't have money. But we had the people. And we thought they were just going to allow the people to exercise their voting rights. So your party, SDP, did not buy any votes? We were not buying votes. We couldn't buy votes. We couldn't. We couldn't buy votes. So I mean, what is the position of the candidate as of now on the election, the outcome of the election? It's unaccepted. Is he rejecting the election? He's rejecting the election. Look, if you know Shegun very well, he's a gentleman, you know him. Everybody knows him. Even those on the other side, the opposition, they know him as Omaluabi, as somebody who would want to take things in this stride, make sure everything goes well, rule of law, due process, blah, blah, blah. That's the kind of person he is. If this thing had gone well, Shegun would have been the first to congratulate the other guy. Okay, because he is not into do or die politics. I'm not into that too. I mean, I'm not a professional
politician. I'm a professional, I'm a journalist. So you can say I'm a professional in politics, not a professional politician. So as a result of that, it is not a do or die for me. We just felt this is an opportunity for us to rescue Ekiti from what they are going through. And everybody knows it. It's clear in the land what Ekiti people are going through. But the fact is that these guys will never release Ekiti people from their stranglehold. Come and see money. How they were giving out money.
How much were they giving?
Well, in some places 10,000 naira per voter, some 7,000 naira. They will even come to the line and tell them, you see, this is taking advantage, undue advantage of the people's, poverty situation. And you see, I liken this to Joseph Stalin. You're familiar with him, I'm sure.
Yeah.
He gave an analogy when he was telling his people how he was able to manage people, or how people managed to follow him every step of the way, wherever he went, despite being a dictator and all that. And he gave a demonstration. He took a chicken, plucked all the feathers. You know how painful that would be for a live chicken, plucked it and threw it on the floor with blood and everything all over the body. And after, a long time of suffering and being in hunger, he now threw some, corn. And the chicken rushed, to take them. That is the style that dictators use. They will make sure that they impoverize you. Look at Ekiti State today. People can hardly afford a meal. Workers are being owed salaries. Months of, backlog, so that they can. I believe this is a strategy to keep them in perpetual, bondage, so that they will continue to be there for their use every 4 years. So a lot of people, especially in those rural areas, saw 10,000.
So this story of food buying. Because there are those who are saying, go everywhere. In fact, there was a guest here in this same place yesterday who said all the major political parties were buying votes. So, you were saying you guys the board vote, but you were not aware.
If we were buying votes, I would have been aware. I'm a party chieftain. I would have been aware.
But they outpaid your party. They are paid.
No.
You couldn't match the price they paid.
Let me tell you, ever before the election, we had been singing it. We have been talking to people against vote buying. Okay, and their response was that they don't have money. Okay, but we thought INEC and the security agencies will also support that crusade. We thought they would also support democracy, okay, to ensure that, look, let me tell you, if the positioning of the ballot box and the ballot box especially was such that there was no opportunity of displaying what you have voted to anyone, there wouldn't have been vote buying.
I'm surprised
we have never been in support of vote buying.
So this happened in Okemesi?
Yes.
It was rampant.
Everywhere I went. Everywhere.
So it's on this basis that your candidate is rejecting the election?
Yes.
Is there
every unit, for example, Sheung, minimum that they rolled down there was 1 million. Each unit. I'm not talking about ward. Each unit. They have all the money. They have all the resources. And they know that these people are very, very poor. They have made them poor anyway. So when you throw anything at them, it becomes very difficult for a lot of people to shun it, to ignore it.
So what is the step for your party now and for the candidate?
Well, we have rejected the election results. Totally. We are having a meeting tomorrow where a decision will be taken on the next line of action. Look, what we witnessed on Saturday, I can tell you, in fact, that was the worst I have ever seen.
What about those who said that you actually paid 3,000 in Okemesi, SDP paid 3,000 in Okemesi to voters?
No. In Okemesi?
Yes.
Where are we going to get that?
That's the report that we're getting. that actually, Kemesi, your party gave 3,000.
I'm very sure that report is coming from APC.
How many of you?
They are masters of propaganda. So don't forget that even shortly before the election, they rolled out a letter, forged Segun Oni's signature, and said the man has resigned. That he has stepped down or he has withdrawn, and all of that. We had to be dealing with that hours to the election. So the man had a rally.
So you didn't think that this defeat was square and flat?
Sorry?
You didn't think that this defeat was a deserved one from the APC?
Of course, it's not deserved. Of course. Look, the groundswell of support we have with the people is a complete departure from the result you're saying.
So a candidate did not win any local government area.
Does that sound real to you, Sheung? Does that sound real to you? Let me tell you.
So, let's get it clear.
You have covered election here and outside as well as I have, and you know for sure that the homeboy advantage is all over the world. Go to Illinois, go and look at the votes, what Obama was able to garner there. You will know that everywhere you go, there is homeboy advantage. There is no way.
So one will make reference to 2014. When Fayemi was beaten flat, 16-16, by Fayoshe, right here in Ekiti State. Fayemi could not even win his local government.
And I'm sure you will still remember Fayemi's position and his pronouncement over that same election. You see, when things do so, Shakespeare will tell you that when things do so conjointly happen, let no man say they are natural.
So you think that this is an unusual...
It is unusual. There is no way anybody will beat Segun Oni in his hometown. Absolutely impossible. There are still so many things we are likely to discover because we are not rushing into...
But beyond vote buying, you think that there are other things that are being done?
Yeah, there are other things.
Like what?
Like the security, conspiracy that it was connivance clearly by the security agents. Because they had a duty, but did they carry out the duty? I had to even ask them.
Aside that, what again?
In my own unit, for example, I told the policeman, I said, look, what are you doing? Look at what people are doing here. Just look the other way. Because all of them had been paid down, all the way down. Even coppers.
Right. So what are you guys doing now? What is your next step?
Our next step is we are challenging it. How, when... You will get to know because, like I said, we're going to have a meeting and decide on the next step. Ekiti people must be rescued, and it's going to happen. That's the fundamental
It's interesting that you're going to court. I remember the last time with Segun Oni, it was Fayemi that went to court, and the mandate of Segun Oni was retrieved and given to Fayemi.
Now,
so, you think that can play back? Would it play itself?
Well, yeah.
You think that you have enough evidence to have turned this video?
Of course, that's what we are gathering now. Let me tell you, you know what is making everything look calm now is because Segun Oni and the rest of us, we believe in peace. If we wink, just a wink, to our supporters, Ado will be on fire, Ekiti will be on fire. But we don't want that because we want to. So we are going to go, the legal route and ensure that we do everything the way it's supposed to be done.
All right.
We don't want to plunge this, state into crisis.
Mr. Moses Jalayame, because people keep saying that the major political parties were paying money for votes. People said that your party paid 3,000, or some other party paid 10,000, other parties paid 5,000. But it looks like the highest bidder. Those are the allegations and the stories that we are hearing. But thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We'll take a break, everyone. And when we come back, we hear the other side of the story. Whatever Mr. Jalayame has said and the decision of the SDP, is it true? We'll get a rebuttal after now. Jonathan. Everyone for staying with us right here on Sunday Politics on Channels Television. We're still staying on the outcome of the Ekiti governorship election. The reactions are trailing. We've heard from the SDP. Hopefully, we might be hearing more from the opposition. But let's get to the rebuttals from the ruling party and the winner in this election. I'm being joined by the Director General of the Ekiti APC and Oyebanji Campaign Organization, Mr. Cyril Fashui. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Sean.
I appreciate it. You heard what Mr. Moses Jolayemi said. They've rejected the election. Yes. How do you respond to that?
Number one, that's very usual for Engineer Segun and his team.
Really?
Yeah, very usual.
What do you mean? If you say usual,
you will recall that in 2010, when the appeal court vacated him as the governor of Ekiti State, rather than for him to accept that the appeal court was the final court as at that time, he went to challenge the decision of the appeal court. Again, he was in APC. He contested for the primary election of 2018 against Dr. Kayode Fayemi, and he was defeated. What did he do? Rather than accept the results, he also went to court. So when you see a man that has an habitual way of thinking that if it is not him, then it is nobody, then you won't be shocked that a party that was defeated with over 100,000 votes. And where did the votes come from? We have about 2,555 polling units. And the party was defeated in over 2,400 polling units. You understand? And you can see come to say you want to reject such a result. You understand? It's amazing. But you know, in politics, you can't.
Is there anything wrong in challenging?
No, there's nothing wrong. There is nothing wrong. It's free to go to anywhere. But you see, like in court, I mean, in law, I'm not a lawyer. There's this usual balance that he who alleges must prove. You understand? So we are waiting. Let them bring out all the proofs of what they have against.
But did you guys buy votes? Did you pay voters?
Let me tell you something. Let me say this to you, and I'm telling you very honestly, I was the Director General because the campaign organization has finished its assignment. I was the Director General of BAO campaign organization. So I have knowledge of everything that was done. You understand? Like he said to you, he was not involved in Segun campaign organization. So he may not know so many things. You understand? I was, and there was nothing in the entire budget of BAO campaign. You understand? There was
official budget.
I call it any name, but I know.
What about the unofficial one?
No, I know there was no official budget. There was only one budget, which I was a party to, and there was nothing. There was no line that is called vote buying.
I mean, I'm talking. You are speaking to the official budget.
There was only one budget. There was only one budget. There was only one budget. I was a principal actor from beginning to the end. There was nothing like any line of the expenditure that indicated that, yes, something of that nature will happen. Ekiti people have decided. You understand? They didn't decide from one polling unit. Check that result per local government. There wasn't anywhere where you saw about 40,000 votes against something. Everything was from the from the units. So there wasn't anything so mongols that you can say, oh, something happened. There wasn't anything that happened.
You raised a few allegations which I will allow you to respond to.
Which allegations?
That you bought votes.
I'm saying to you
perhaps that your party paid the highest amount.
I'm not aware. Let me say this to you. I am not aware of
But
anything.
The story is all over the place.
Where? Which
did you see EFCC arrest?
See, I saw the video of the EFCC arrest. Did they say that the guys they arrested, was there anywhere they wrote it that this is APC guys? There was nowhere. You understand? So if there was no place in that video that said these guys are APC guys, how come you can say you are saying that the video does not have any meaning? You understand? But until when somebody comes up to say that, oh, these guys that were arrested are of APC. You understand?
Well, I mean, we allow the EFCC to do their job.
Of course.
Not being prejudicial
yeah.
in one's statement. But the evidence that was obtained from the people that were arrested, the notebook that were obtained, and in fact the envelope that was received or obtained from them, it was clearly written. The APC name and the APC.
I didn't see that.
It was caught on tape.
I didn't.
Look
see
at it.
that.
That's on tape. They're right there. It's on tape there. I'm telling you, Mr. Fashion.
Let me tell you something. This is just a mere exercise book. This is just a mere exercise book.
Which was allegedly used for the distribution
and I can also tell you
of
that
the funds.
I can also tell you that this may be the handwork of an opponent. You understand? You have seen in politics so many things. You have seen in politics so many things that you cannot even think of. For instance, it was mentioning that a letter purportedly written, you understand, purportedly written a day or two before the election, saying that Engineer Segun had withdrawn. And he was alleging that it was written by maybe APC. Or have you forgotten that if APC was going to write such a letter, the letter that was written, who was the beneficiary of that letter? It was not APC, it was that is withdrawing so that they can support PDP. How can APC write such a letter? You understand? A frivolous letter, and you say is withdrawing to support.
Maybe also the gimmick. I mean, we're planned gimmicks to say, okay, so our hands will not be seen in this.
It's not possible. It's not possible. We didn't. Because if you are going to do any fraud, you must be the beneficiary of that fraud. You understand? Who was the beneficiary? You know? So this can also be their own handwork.
Now, if you say you are not aware,
yeah.
he said he's not aware.
Of
but
what?
The people of vote buying,
yeah.
But the people are saying that they saw. We saw movement. We saw that people were moving around. People were arrested. Monies were obtained from people. And you said you're oblivious of some of these issues.
No, I wasn't, because I was in Ido. That's my town. I was in Ido throughout the election. So and there wasn't anything like that.
No entertainment?
Yes, there wasn't. There wasn't anything. There wasn't anything. Look, let me tell you something. Yesterday, I saw more than 400 observers. You know, in an election of our type, you understand, what do you call it? Election that maybe what do you call it? An election that is just a state election. You saw the number of agents. You saw the number of police and other security people. It's not possible for you to say you want to do anything funny, because at every time you will see one police person, you will see one observer. You understand? And where is even the money? Where is the money to do such? So
let's speak to the outcome and the margin,
yeah.
And of course where APC won,
yeah.
And where other parties. The last time, there are the strongholds of the PDP. For example, the last time in Efon, and of course in Ekiti, PDP won. But what is the explanation, like Mr. Jola Emin said, for the defeat of Segun, for example, in his local government, in his hometown?
I heard him talk about the homeboy advantage. The homeboy advantage was in 2009. You understand? When you are talking about the homeboy advantage, I was part of the homeboy in 2010.
What is this homeboy idea?
See, because we are from, as at that time it was about Idosi. Engineer Segun is from Ifaki. You understand? I am from Ido, and so we had people like that in PDP then, because yes, I was in PDP as at 2009. And we were the one that aggregated that defeat that we all called the homeboy advantage. But today, the center couldn't hold again. He won in Ifaki. We have 2 wards in Ifaki. And he won in those 2 wards. Don't forget one thing. I am the senatorial candidate of APC. And I'm from Ido Ekiti. And the last time an Ido son will go to the National Assembly was in 1979. So when you are talking about Segun's homeboy advantage in Ifaki, I am also the homeboy that will have an advantage in Ido. And what is the total vote of Ifaki? Compared to Ido, as far as that local government is concerned, 45% of the votes in Idosi reside with Ido people. You understand? And having been the senatorial candidate, you expect him to come and defeat me in my own town? It's not possible. He led with certain margins. By the time that margin came to Ido absorbed it. So what homeboy advantage in a local government? There's nothing like that again. The homeboy advantage that Moses was talked about was 2000 and something, and we created that homeboy advantage then. So he had only the homeboy advantage that he has now is for Ifaki, not Ido. He cannot come to Ido and defeat us. He cannot come to Ayetoro to go and defeat them in Ayetoro. Again, where is the structure of SDP? Where is the structure of SDP? SDP was not known as a party in Ekiti. The people that
SDP came third in 2018.
See, with what votes?
So when you say they are not known, you seem to have written it.
Let me say,
but that was the party that was on the ballot and came third.
There are two major political parties in Ekiti that have been interchanging government. You understand what I'm saying? Now, the people that went to SDP, majority of them came from PDP. Maybe very few, less than 10% of the aggrieved APC members went to join them. Don't also forget one thing. We did a primary election for Biodun Abayomi in January this year. Do you know what he got? He got 101,000 votes to emerge as a governorship candidate of APC. So
it was a direct primary.
Yes, it was a direct primary. So everybody voted. So if a party has such a very large number of members, and they all turned out to support him, then what else are we talking about?
So mathematically, you're proving that Oyebanji's victory is substantiated.
Yes.
By what? Hard work or by popularity?
By hard work and popularity.
So you are saying Segun Oni is less popular than Biodun Oyebanji?
Let me tell you something. Where is the popularity of Engineer Segun Oni? Over-bloated popularity.
So he's popular than also BCK?
You mean Engineer Segun?
You're saying that Oyebanji is more popular than BCK?
Of course.
He's more popular than Engineer Oni?
Of course.
By what standard?
See, one, by virtue of being a member of APC. APC is the largest, is the biggest party in the Ekiti state as of today. You understand? Then the membership strength of APC is more. The membership strength of PDP has been deflated by the defections that you saw. You understand? The defections that you saw. Meanwhile, who left APC? Maybe less than 5%. You understand? So, Oyebanji, then you have heard about it, this homeboy advantage of Oyebanji. Oyebanji has been around here for a very long time. Oyebanji was part of the creation of Ekiti State. You understand? And you see, the Bible says that I will not dig my well for others to come and drink the water there. I will also not create my own farm for others to come and reap. This guy was part of the creation of Ekiti State. So now, having
so as a Bisikolawale and
no.
Rest,
that was no.
Weren't they around?
Where were they then? Where were they then in 1995, 1994? Where were they? Don't forget one thing. Oyebanji has not left the shores of Ekiti. One, all his secondary school, primary school, university was here. When he started work, he started as a teacher here. You understand? And he has been in government.
So he's an homeboy too.
He's a fantastic homeboy. Very fantastic. Very fantastic.
Homeboy terminology or the slogan is it could be used. And are you using the homeboy as your campaign slogan for the election too?
Which one?
For your senatorial election.
Do I have opponents?
You don't have enough?
I don't have any opponents.
There is the PDP, there is other parties.
Forget it. Look,
what
let me tell you.
You don't have opponents?
I don't have opponents. Just wait and see. Just wait and see. Who is the senatorial candidate of SDP in the Ekiti North? Who is their candidate?
What about the PDP?
I don't know their candidate. Oh. And with the result of this election, you will see that there is none of us will have any opponents.
Okay, let's get some other perspective to it. Unfortunately, we were expecting the a representative and a chieftain of the PDP, but let's hear from one of the chieftains of the SDP also, who left the APC. I'm talking about Honorable Bimbo Daramola. He joins us live in Lagos. Honorable, thank you so much. It's good to see you. You seem to be very unhappy with the outcome of that exercise. Can you give us an understanding of what you thought happened? Was that election won fair and square?
Well, let me say to you that elections usually will reflect, will see, in Senate climes, let me put it like that, in climes where elections are true reflections of the wishes of the people, the results will be so infectious. People will be on the streets of Ekiti at this time, jumping up and down and celebrating that election. But let me say to you that my perspective is this. I reckon that the ruling party in the state obviously felt that they could use strong arm tactics, and they did. You know, I was going to tell you about my 7-year-old daughter who had seen all the clips coming out of that election. And then a 57-year-old man like my friend, C.Y. Siri Fashi, comes to national television to begin to argue and then disprove or disagree with facts and videos that you can see. I actually posted one of those videos. Now, as much as possible, I read in the Nation today about why and how people should win elections, Asiwaju was the one. The statement was attributed to Asiwaju in his letter to President Buhari. He said, and I quote, "Victories from elections should be sitting on one, that the party that has won has manifestly, I paraphrase, manifestly showed projects, enough development, substantial value for people to be able to say yes. On the basis of this, we go, our referendum on you as a party or as a person is that you have done well, and we are rewarding you with an opportunity to go and either represent us again or to get a mandate refreshed or renewed." But I wonder if that is the case in Ekiti State today. But the strong arm tactic that was used and deployed across the state, and this is not sour grapes, this is not bad losers, it is just that people have weaponized poverty. You made them poor so that they can always grovel at your feet. How many people can actually turn their backs away, particularly the family of 5, for instance, where all of them are electorates at that election, and they have people telling them, take 10,000 naira. And then they do an aggregate mathematics of that, and they see that that comes to 50,000 that they've not seen in 2, 3, 4, 5 months. They're not willing to be able to be rational at that point in time. But let me quickly tell you what Dr. Fayemi said when he lost the elections in 2014.
Honorable Damala, you're saying that there was vote buy. Man, if you raise this, because I raised this issue, just remember.
No, let me close. Let me say it on this. Let me land on this. Dr. Fayemi, in his acceptance speech in 2014, said, and I quote him, "If indeed this is the true wishes of the Ekiti people, I am left with no choice other than to accept it." So I walk that path today to say that if indeed that is the true expression of Ekiti people, fine. For me, we will all come to our copious hand someday. We know, CY knows, everybody knows, and all the journalists who are very, very reliable, dependable, and intentional at that elections, go and watch out what Observer said. Go and read the Observer's report, at least the first exit reports. Go and read it. This day, today said, Biodo Ibanji has won.
Because of time, Honorable Damala, I'd like to quickly get more of your thoughts before we close. We just have a few minutes or a few seconds before we close. So you are talking about vote buying? Aside vote buying, are there any other things that you thought or you saw didn't make this election a victory that was fair and square?
Oh, absolutely. Did you see the violence that erupted around housing area of Ekiti? Did you see that violence? And I was just reading a message from one of those people who had videos of how people snatched ballot boxes. You saw the ballot boxes on the paper, on the floor, you know, and somebody was mentioned, Mentilo was mentioned, pictures are flying all over the place, and these are not cooked up pictures. These are real pictures of real people. And somebody says that election has been won fair and square.
So quick one, just before we go, so that we touch on a few more issues. Now, for those who are saying now they are alleging, you talked about vote buying, those who are alleging that they actually saw you sharing money at Ire. Is that true?
I shared money. How did I share? Let them bring the pictures of how I shared money now. I don't, listen, it's even, when you win elections, you should wear the badge of honor. I don't want to go, Biodun is my friend though. And I'm very, very careful to know, I don't know whether he still sees me as his friend or not, it doesn't matter anyway. But the truth of the matter is this. Listen, when you win election fair and square, you wear a badge of honor. I'm not too sure that this victory has a badge of honor on the chest of the person who has won it. You understand? I'm talking about what is the nexus between I shared money in Ire and then they're manifest, widespread. And people are talking about the consequences of what we're doing today will haunt us tomorrow. Don't they understand that? They have reduced everything to winning elections. And one of the things I said in my write-up was that APC, as it was then, should be an institution and not just be known as election-winning machinery or election-winning machine. We're talking about ANC today. We know the ideals of the ANC. You don't win elections and then you get congratulated because you have won elections that is tainted, that has all kinds of colorations around it. Come on, there must be honor now.
No, because President Buhari has reacted to this election.
You guys in the media should...
President Buhari has reacted to... Just a moment. President Buhari has reacted to this outcome of the election and said, this victory shows how popular and how acceptable the APC is to the people of Nigeria.
We're raising monsters, sure, and we may end up in his belly. I'm telling you, we're raising monsters and we may end up in his belly. We're talking about elections. I mean, elections are the opportunity. That's the leveler between the rich and the poor. You know, that's the only opportunity. That's the one time that the poor man and the rich man has opportunity to freely, and don't forget, freely express without inducement, without coercion. As that election, unfortunately, how that can be put in
Honorable, just pause for a moment. Let me allow Mr. Siri here to react just in 30 seconds as his final thought before we close, and I'll get to yours also. You heard what the congressman said. Yes, what are your reactions to that?
You heard him. You asked him the question, and you said he was sharing money in his hometown, and he said he should go and bring video. You understand? What does that mean?
He was talking about intimidation, death threats, and
who threatened who? Who threatened who?
Did you muscle the opposition?
It's not possible. You see, let me tell you something.
He said choose the security to go after opposition.
It is better for us, for all politicians, to be honorable. Even in defeat. Even in defeat. We have 2,555 polling units. 2,555 polling units. And the party defeated the two opponents in about 2,400 polling units. He won his polling unit. Do we now say that he bought votes? That was why he won.
We need to close now. We need to close now. Congressman, your final thought in 30 seconds.
Well, let me say to you that... yeah, thank you very much. Let me say to you that I worry for the future of this country. when people who will be representing this country, who will be representing my senatorial district at the Senate, by the grace of God, I mean, in another 1 year maybe, will be on television and be denying what the obvious, first and foremost, agree and say that, yes, we did this. Yar'Adua did that before. And that is why President Yar'Adua remains the bastion of honor. Even as a president, he had accepted that his election was flawed. Why is CY talking like this? But for me as a person, well, it doesn't matter anymore. I mean, I don't know what Engineer Shegoni wants to do with the elections, but let me say to you that it would have been a lot better if APC had won that election in the manner in which they portrayed. And CY knows it, that is not true. And of course, I want to say to you that
totally out of time. We're overstretched.
If you take honor away from
my luck with this timing.
That's what you have on your hands.
But we need to go. Thank you so much, Honorable Bimbo Daramala, popularly called the Congressman, and Mr. Siwa Cyril. Thank you so much for coming. Well, that's our show for today, everyone. Many thanks for watching. It's been a wonderful time covering this election right here in Ekiti on behalf of the team. Thank you, everyone. It's good night.